Today I'm going to enhance your vocabulary with something as simple as dun, 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 this salt container. Hear me out. You might think this is strange, but there's more to this than meets the eye. I know there are many students who don't have the opportunity to go and live in an English-speaking country, and some students don't have the opportunity to practice English on a daily basis, either with a teacher or using English at work. But you can self-study, okay? You can learn from the comfort of your own home as long as you're willing to do so. And you can use any product or movie or song or book to do that. But today I'm only going to show you the example of using certain products, okay? By the end of this lesson, you're going to know some new nouns, verbs, adjectives, phrasal verbs, and even some idiomatic expressions. So let's get started. So at first glance here, we have EST. EST is an abbreviation. An abbreviation is a short form of a word. So EST stands for established. Established. Established refers to something that has been set up or created in the past, such as a company or an organization or an institution. For example, the company was established in 2000. Saxa was established in 1907. Established can also be an adjective. If something is established, it means it's well known, easily recognized, and it's long-lasting. For example, she works for an established company in the city. Okay, moving on to our next word. Here we have sea salt, and then it says fine. So fine, a lot of you would know, for example, if I ask you, how are you? And you reply, I'm fine. Okay, that means I'm okay. Everything is satisfactory. But fine has several other meanings too. In this case, fine means very small, tiny pieces of a substance. For example, salt. Okay, very small pieces of salt. A small piece of salt is also referred to as a grain. So we can have a grain of salt, a grain of sugar, a grain of rice, and a grain of coffee. But in British English, if we say it's going to be a fine day, it means it's going to be a sunny day or a nice day. It's a fine day today. It's a nice sunny day. Fine can also be a penalty or a ticket, a parking fine, a driving fine. For example, I had to pay a £500 fine for speeding. The fine here is the amount of money that you have to pay as a form of punishment. And lastly, if something is fine, it can also mean that it's high quality. For example, fine dining, or the restaurant serves a fine selection of wines. Okay, so the wine is of high quality. Or she wore a fine silk dress to the party. It means that her dress was of really high quality. But there's also an idiom that we could use, a fine line, a fine line. A fine line is a small difference or distinction between two things, often used when something can easily shift from one extreme to another. For example, there is a fine line between being confident and being arrogant. So next it says, no need to grind. No need to grind. So what does grind mean? Well, there are several different meanings to it, just like the word fine. And if you're interested in learning more, you can look it up in the dictionary, but I'm only going to teach some of the most common meanings. So to grind means to crush, pulverize something into smaller pieces. For example, you need to grind the coffee beans before you brew the coffee. To grind can also mean to work hard, be persistent, to engage in a strenuous, often repetitive type of work. For example, she had to grind away at her studies for hours to pass the exam. And if something grinds to a halt, grind to a halt, this is an idiom. It means that something is slowing down or stopping, usually due to some difficulty or obstruction. For example, the project ground to a halt after the main manager left. And we often use this idiom to talk about traffic. For example, after the accident, the traffic ground to a halt. The traffic stopped or slowed down because there was an accident, some sort of difficulty or obstruction. So moving to the back now of the container, it says here, fine flowing salt harvested from mineral-rich seawater. Our fine sea salt offers natural flavour in a convenient format. In a convenient format. What does that mean? So a format in this case is size. In a convenient size. Okay, fine sea salt is very convenient when you're cooking. If the sea salt was in its original form, which would be a rock, it wouldn't be a very convenient size. It's not a convenient format for cooking. So that's what that means. So basically the original format of the sea salt was a rock. And then the company conveniently ground the rock into this convenient fine format that's found in this container. So next we have here the cook's corner. So that's basically the company giving you tips on how to use this product. And it says, rub fine sea salt into pork or chicken for crispy, crackling skin. Sprinkle roast potatoes with salt before serving to keep them crisp. Okay, so we're going to start with that verb, to rub. So to rub means to move something back and forth. So we're going to rub the sea salt into the chicken or pork or lamb or beef or whatever meat you prefer. Also, we could say she rubbed the lotion into her skin. Okay, so that's kind of moving back and forth, usually in a kind of circular motion, but it doesn't have to be. It can be back and forth or it can be round. Okay, and there's also an interesting idiom with the verb to rub, and it is to rub someone up the wrong way. To rub someone up the wrong way. And that basically means to irritate or annoy someone, often unintentionally. Okay, you don't mean to do it, but you rub someone up the wrong way. For example, his rude comments really rubbed me up the wrong way. Okay, so he didn't mean to be rude. He wasn't really rude towards me. Okay, it wasn't intentional, but for some reason they irritated me. Okay, his comments irritated me. They annoyed me. They rubbed me up the wrong way. And there is a phrasal verb that's quite similar, and it is to rub off on someone. To rub off on someone. This means to influence someone in a way that is going to cause them to adopt certain behaviors or qualities. For example, her positive attitude really rubbed off on me, and now I feel more optimistic. Okay, so I adopted her quality, her behavior. It really rubbed off on me. And we had the words crispy, crackling. Crispy, crackling. Okay, so this means that something is firm, dry, and easily broken. It's going to cause that kind of sound when you bite into it or when you break it. For example, the fried chicken had a deliciously crispy coating. So when you bite into it, you can hear that crunch, okay, that crisp, that sound. That means crispy or crackling, although crackling is usually more referred to pork and crispy is referred to chicken. All right, moving on. We have, okay, the next part was sprinkle roast potatoes with salt before serving to keep them crisp. To sprinkle means to cover lightly with something, okay? So we're going to take the salt and we're going to sprinkle the salt onto our meat, or sprinkle the salt onto your salad to enhance the flavor. And this is another word that is connected to weather. So if we have a sprinkle, it could be a sprinkle of rain or a sprinkle of snow. It means very little or light rain or light snow. Why are so many words connected to weather, I wonder? For example, the weather forecast said that we might get a sprinkle of snow today. And I hope we do, because I don't like rain. Okay, moving on, we have the word course. Okay, so it says here, have you tried our other salts? And it says sea salt, coarse sea salt. So coarse refers to a substance that's not finely ground, okay? It's larger, bulkier, and slightly rough in texture. For example, he used coarse sea salt to season the meat. It's the opposite of fine. Fine sea salt, coarse sea salt. Fine, small, smooth, coarse, larger, and rough. And let's look at the last two words for today. Drum, widely recycled, and cap, widely recycled. So drum is this container, okay? Because of the shape, it's called a drum. And sometimes we get bigger drums, like an oil drum and a salt drum. And we have the plastic cap, and it's a rotating cap, okay? It has a mechanism that allows it to rotate. And this plastic cap has these dispensing holes, okay? Dispensing, that means it allows the salt to pass through them, okay? So when you adjust the cap to the hole that you want, then that will depend on how much salt passes through these dispensing holes. And I think that's it for today. I've covered the majority of the words on here. I didn't go into the boring parts like the guarantee and the ingredients because, well, there are only two ingredients, sea salt and anti-caking agent. So I really hope you've enjoyed this lesson. I hope that you've learned something today. And even if you knew these words, it doesn't matter. I just wanted to show you that you can learn from any object, product, movie, song, book, wherever you are, okay, there are ways of learning and enhancing your vocabulary. You just have to be willing to do that. And if you've enjoyed the lesson, let me know so that I can do another lesson like this using a different product. And I will see you in that lesson very soon. Take care. Bye.